Hi friends, welcome back. I am DJ Montague, and today we are talking about more Chrono Odyssey. This time we've got the CEO slash founder of Chrono Studios posting on Twitter about Chrono Odyssey directly after CBT1 ended. So let's get into it. So we got some messages from the CEO of Chrono Studio and founder. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to butcher it, and he deserves more respect than that. Also says the NPixel CEO. Weird. They did say they completely separated in interview with Canon, but neither here nor there. Anyways, so we've got a bunch of Twitter replies, a bunch of Twitter posts from this gentleman, and I want to go through them with you today. They've given a lot of information that we didn't see before, some apologies, and some true understanding of what's going on behind the scenes. So let's get into it immediately. So Ellie says, "Thank you for giving us the opportunity to test the game. Good experience so far with a lot of work ahead. I'm positively optimistic. Looking forward to more developer updates. Keep up the hard work, and I'll be looking forward to the next update." He says, "Thank you for having a positive experience with the game. We have many updates and improvements planned. Please stay tuned to our official X," we're going to just say Twitter because let's be real, "and YouTube channels for the latest changes. We'll do our best to come back with an even better version of Chrono Odyssey." Good. I mean, that's PR stuff. You know, reach out. I think they absolutely know that there was some negative reception, and this is a really good way to almost level the field a little bit. Be like, hey, we are listening, we are paying attention to what's going on. So William OL5 says, "It was pretty fun. Too bad my game was a bit sluggish. I'm guessing because my computer I'm using probably has outdated tech, i7 8th gen and a 2060 RTX. Dude, like we talked about it on stream, when it comes to a lot of gaming right now, these companies are not making the video cards as powerful and interacting with raw power of like raw computing power, I should say. They're aiming more towards interacting with AI frame gen because it's an easier way to get more frames than it is to developing new tech and stuff like that. So somebody that's using a 2060, I'm gonna say most games nowadays are not going to interact well with it, and it's kind of sad because like video cards used to last you quite a long time, 7 years almost in some cases. I have a 3080 Ti. I'm debating about buying a 5080 specifically for Chrono Odyssey because I want to make sure it looks good for me and for you guys like watching at home. By the way, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJ Montague. Anyways, so he said, "We overlooked the importance of minimum system requirements, and that was our mistake. We'll make sure things are different next time. You have our word." So good, admitting their mistake. It is a small mistake in the grand scheme of things, but good on them for even like talking about it. "Hello, I'm from Colombia, and I hope you've put a lot of effort into fixing, improving, and polishing many things in the game. The base is excellent. It just needs to be improved by bringing together graphics, movement, and making the game feel fluid and more dynamic." That's like, you know, like those memes on like esports specific games. It's like, yeah, Cloud9's the best team in the region. They just need to work on their execution, their dragon and baron control, and like all of those things, and just list like everything that's wrong with the team, and it's just everything. Anyways, so they said, "It's true that it took us a long time to establish a solid foundation. Having developed mobile games for years, we've come to realize just how challenging it is to meet the expectations of the global audience. This test made that clearer than ever. Even from a programming side, many of the tasks were extremely ambitious. And since this is an MMORPG, developing a full server-based infrastructure demanded more than twice the usual effort. We had to deliver action RPG level combat and controls and our monster AI had to match the quality of a single player experience. Nothing less. We're fully aware that the path we've chosen is not an easy one, and expressing the level of polish we aim for will take time, but we're committed to finishing what we started. Thank you for your continued support. That's a big ask. Like, okay, this person didn't even bring up that stuff. You know, it wasn't like, oh, your single player mobs are dog shit and all that stuff. You literally just said bringing together graphics, movement, and making the game feel fluid and more dynamic. I get that. Again, it's a good response, and saying like, hey, we know we bit off way more than we can chew, but we're gonna work at chewing it. We're gonna fucking get through this, and we're putting in the effort. We love this product and what our base is, and I say more power to you guys. The more that these people are inspired to do better, the more I'm like excited for Chrono Odyssey. I'm not gonna sit here and be, you know, a doomer. I'm gonna talk about the things that were failures in the game. Obviously, they need a lot of detachment from what New World is, and the more and more that it comes out, a lot of their inspiration was from New World stuff. But they didn't talk about it. Detach from that and let people know that you were inspired by it, and then continue on, right? Next up, Mythic Gaming said, I've spent about 30 hours in the beta, and the biggest issue was communication. And this is what I said in the video, last video, the one I just uploaded today. It wasn't cleared that this was an old build. Most players assumed it reflected the current state of the game, and that really skewed feedback. Thanks for giving me access, and looking forward to more. And they said, hold up, let's go back here. That point is absolutely valid. For this closed beta, we had to prioritize server stability and minimizing critical bugs. I said that, which meant we couldn't use the most recent build. And that's the honest truth. Any developer would understand the trade-offs involved in such a decision. For the next test, we plan to minimize the gap, or that gap, as much as possible and deliver a version that's closer to our current development state. We appreciate your understanding and thank you in advance for your continued support. Now, no matter what, like I said, I don't think they ever should have gone forward with an 8-month-old build, especially when this is the first time you're really going to see the game and touch the game. I think that was a big mistake on their part, and them confirming that most people thinking that thought is they're valid in that. I also understand, because I mean, I'm friends with developers and stuff like that over the course of my Twitch and YouTube time. I know a lot of the back end stuff and how it's really difficult to develop on two different clients. Basically, you have one stable client and then you keep iterating and you're like, okay, well, we've got a beta coming up, we've got a test coming up. Do we give them the new stuff that we don't know whether there's a ton of bugs in it, and then they just like figure out and break the game, or somebody like, you know, gets access to it and our source material and source code and all the spoilers like that we don't want yet? But do we give them the most recent version, or do we give them a version from 6 months ago? In this case, I'm gonna say no. Don't give them a version from 6 months ago. It's your first time seeing the game. Get as close as possible to what is like currently done and realized by the team. Show the team's best work so we can praise them for what was good and help you figure out what was bad. Because a lot of the shit that's in this build probably has already gotten fixed. Let's be real. Like, it's not like these people are just idiots just standing around doing nothing. You know what I mean? They're developing a game. It's intricate. There's a lot of moving parts. And a lot of moving parts get broken in the process and then fixed. That's the whole point of development, right? Like, this is the thing. They probably fixed a lot of what we're upset about. And I'm hoping they did. I honestly, if they had given Canon and other content creators access to that build, let them talk about it. Because you could have been like, yeah, we're getting this old build because you guys are finally getting a chance to play the game. But let me tell you, these problems that are already fixed, it's in the new build. We've tested it out. It's been a lot of fun. It feels really smooth. I obviously can't show it to you yet because we're still under NDA, but let me talk about it a little bit. Don't just like let people sit in the dark. It's not going to help, right? The speculation goes absolutely wild once you just let people fester, right? And that's also why I really appreciate him for doing this. He didn't have to do any of this. He just post on Twitter, thanks, and then not post anything to these replies at all and just went about his day. You know what I mean? So, Any Arclight says, I only found out about Chrono Odyssey a week before the playtest, thanks to JubTTV. This playtest felt right, and while there is room for improvement, I had a blast and cannot wait for the next CBT. Excited for what the future holds for Chrono Odyssey. And then he says, I truly believe the next build will be significantly more satisfying than the current one. Our development team feels real progress with each quarterly build, and that momentum is only getting stronger. Stay tuned. We promise it'll be worth the wait. That means that they are technically 3 builds ahead, because this build that we played came out in Q4 2024. From what I understand, it could have been December 2024. So that means they had another build in March, right? You could assume another build in June, and potentially they're on a third different build. And they're saying that there's getting a lot of progress with every quarterly build. I mean, they could be playing a vastly different game, but I will say, knowing on the back end, there's a lot of stuff that can happen very quickly with a dev team that is agile and mobile, like something like Supervive's dev team, Theorycraft Games. They have to answer to nobody. They have an incredibly mobile team that they can adjust things on the fly. They've done it for tournaments. They've done it in playtests, like hotfix problems really quickly. I assume that a dev team like this, that's not beholden to like, I mean, even their investors, they're just told to develop a game and that they're trusted. They're mobile as well. And I would hope that at least. So onward. Rocky Balboa, Final Fantasy 14. That's a great name, John McElroy. Anyways, please also make the game a bit more vibrant. Everything looked so washed out in the daytime. And then he says, I believe that you're referring to the performance issues that caused lighting and texture quality to drop to their lowest setting. We understand how frustrating that must have been, and we'll work hard to fix it moving forward. So I assume what had happened was there was some bug that was forcing anything that wasn't within a certain radius of you to just immediately drop to their lowest setting, being like rocks and any sort of foliage around, because like looked like shit in weird situations. And it was really strange, like even climbing on rocks and stuff. Like you want to have a more linear path on these hills and rocky areas as well. Like you don't want to have to clamber up literally every single level. So there's going to take a lot of time smoothing out those edges of the world map and really making it feel lived in. But I could see what he's saying, like performance issues that caused lighting and texture qualities to drop to their lowest settings. That's like, even if you're sitting at high settings and your computer's trying to push that information and you have a bug on the other end that's just like, nah, this is at lowest settings and you're also gonna lose the FPS and we didn't know about that. That's kind of a big deal for how the game looked, because a lot of people were talking about that. They had a screenshot. This actually really frustrated me, so I'm going to talk about it here. But they had a screenshot of a load screen. Now, the load screen is artwork. And somebody on Twitter said, this is supposed to be in-game footage. And then the next screenshot is like them standing and staring at like the super low res shit and just looking like dog shit. And admittedly, the second screenshot doesn't look good. Okay, like I'm 100% on board with you there. We are testing. This is a beta. They have shown gameplay footage that looks fucking incredible, right? We've seen it. And they've shown a lot of trailers that are just like mind-blowing, right? We need to be able to touch that. We need to be able to get there and be able to like hold on to that and play that and journey through that ourselves. Because I guarantee you, if we were able to get some of those trailer-esque like moments where you're running through the forest and you're just like, holy shit. Speaking of, one of the first games, I mean, New World kind of similarly, but one of the first games where forests felt like forests. Like you see the almost the fog in the distance. You can't see every single tree, but you feel like you're moving through a forest. You feel like you're getting a little lost. And I absolutely love that. There's a big thing when it comes to MMOs that I've noticed, that towns don't feel real because you have like 6 buildings total and you have like 45 people all running through town. Like, I need to get to the blacksmith. And then you have like 25 people all huddled around one anvil. You know what I mean? There's so many expansive cities that we can look at as human beings. I want to feel that in a game to a certain extent. Obviously, like, I don't want to fucking go through New York City in a video game. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be a nightmare. But I want to feel something comparable to a grandiose nation state, capital or whatever. And you roll up and you're like, wow, that city is gigantic. Do they have player housing? Oh, like, wow, what's going on the streets? To see like that vibrant nature, almost like The Witcher. Witcher 3 had some pretty cool cities that you could engage in, and they were supposed to be small portions of the city as well. And so like you can let your imagination run wild. You run up to kind of the end and see where the dev wall is, so to speak, and look over it, and you're like, wow, that city's massive expanse, and I'm just here in the slums. That's crazy. Like, stuff like that is really fucking immersive. It's really cool. Anyways, onward. Fufad, I think is that name, said, take your time with the game. Please delay it. Release in 2026 when it's far better and more ready. I said that as well. And then they said, like its name, Chrono, its time is always on our side. That's why we believe even the toughest challenges can be overcome, given enough patience and determination. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Baldur's Gate 3, and I know it took nearly 3 years of early access for that masterpiece to become what it is today. We intend to keep that same unwavering faith in our product and continue to giving it our all. That's really hopeful that they recognize and understand something really important. Also, Baldur's Gate 3's early access was literally just Act 1. And they did some iterations on it and fixed a lot of stuff and added some more classes. They did a lot to it. But we didn't touch anything close to the end game until that game was out. They tested everything in that basic sandbox of Act 1, not even Act 1.5, but just straight up Act 1. Like, for 3 years, I played it several times. I really enjoyed my time with Baldur's Gate. Hit up some buddies of mine and play off stream. It was just like a really fun experience. And for then, beyond that, when the game comes out and you like that immersion of Act 1 transferring to Act 2 and 3 and being beautiful throughout, that is like a recognizable and special experience. And I think the rarity in that, like, hopefully this team can execute that. Poyo Poyo says, I had a lot of fun. I clocked in almost 30 hours. Ignore the haters and keep improving. Thank you for letting us play. He said, we're deeply grateful to everyone who took the time to participate and even share their feedback with us. Your support and criticism both mean a lot. We plan to further enhance the parts you enjoyed, and we're committed to delivering the upcoming test content with the quality it deserves. Thank you again, sincerely. That, wonderful. Again, he did not have to do that. He didn't have to recognize that person. They're giving him a little fluff feedback, and he's like, yo, I want to shout you out. I really appreciate that. That's cool. I like that shit. You don't have a lot of devs doing this, you know what I mean? So Forrest says, a game has a lot of potential, but there's a lot to improve in it. Seeing the CBT, I think it would be bad to launch at the end of 2025. I'm hoping you guys will do a good job with this rough diamond in your hands. And then he says, no one understands that feeling more than our development team. We truly share the same anticipation and the desire to deliver the best version possible. As for the official release timing, we kindly ask for your understanding. We're not in a position to share that just yet. Cool. Don't say shit. You don't have to. It was great. And they're telling you push it back anyway. So good. Tipsy said, I hope for a much improved CBT2 in the future with most of the issues fixed. So thank you. I don't know. I would assume. I don't know if that's Spanish. But I mean, everybody's using translator because I'm pretty sure this guy's Korean and does not speak English. But that, I mean, it's translated through probably some person. Anyways, that must have been a rough experience, which really sorry about that. We'll make sure to put even more care into the next build so that your gameplay is smooth and enjoyable. Please look forward to it. Okay. So RWI FPS says, don't forget what I suggest. The success of the game is in your hands. You will, if you want to make money, be smart, listen, learn, and adapt. Very easy life hack. Smiley face. So a little condescending, but some people just talk like that. And it could be a cultural thing, and maybe I'm just thinking that as condescending. Over the past 3 days, we've received an overwhelming amount of feedback, strong, clear, and impossible to ignore. If I couldn't recognize that, I'd honestly have to question the meaning of my entire career as a developer. Okay, yeah, let's go. That's exactly why we'll keep refining this project until it becomes something truly meaningful. Thank you for being a part of that journey. Cool. Real cool. Cybertruck 1000 or Cybertrunk 1000 with a cyberpunk avatar. I see the vision. Looking forward to seeing how things improve on the road to release. Sending my warm regards to you and the entire Chrono team. Said thank you for focusing on the positive aspects. We will do our best to make sure the game is recognized as a truly great title. Okay. So this one's important too. Mado. Why did some of the feedback get deleted on the official Discord? And then he says, our moderation policy is simple and focused. We only remove posts that include hate speech, racism, or excessive personal attacks / profanity. Posts that expose or promote bug abuse are also taken down, as they can spread unintended exploits. Outside of that, we fully encourage open discussion and feedback with the community. Good. And I mean, when you get the doomers posting and they're just going super hard on the you guys are fucking idiots and like that kind of attitude, like it's just unnecessary. So I'm glad they, you know, call it out when you see it. Because I mean, in general, these people are working on a passion project that we're all excited about too. And we're not even doing nothing. We're just playing the game. Everybody wants to find their home game. Talk about it every now and then on stream. But these are the people making your next home game, you know? Treat them with some sort of respect. They're developing the thing that you want to put your passion of 1,000 hours into, right? So talk to them like they're humans, because they are. Everyone is. So Kokosina says, it was so great. Honestly, it was a refreshing take on an MMO. Excited to see where it leads. Also, I could totally see this world having vampires and werewolves. It would fit so well. All right, get your gooner nature out of here. I'm just kidding. I mean, realistically, them having said that 12 worlds exist in this storyline, you could do whatever you want. You could literally say like, oh, there's a cyberpunk world that went like hyper tech oriented and the void took over, and then you see like fucking Night City being taken over by the void. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like you could just literally say whatever you want because it's a blank slate on time. You could also say, hey, we're going to the future for this expansion and we're going into a dilapidated world that's been taken over by the void that was incredibly Warhammer-esque. You know what I mean? Like there's so much that you could do with this. So, sure. And they said, we've drawn inspiration from a variety of games and aimed to recreate them in our own unique style. Watch out, New World. I'm joking. God. We hadn't initially considered adding races like vampires or werewolves, but that's a really interesting idea. Thank you for the suggestion. Sure. This reminds me of a time This is an embarrassing time in my life. When I tried to make a joke at T-Pain when I met him, to let him know that I was cheering him on and that I knew more about his work. And when he was getting ready to go on stage, I yelled, "Are you gonna play Reverse Cowgirl?" Like, obviously that song's not great, but it is hilarious. And he just turned around and he's like, "Fuck no." And I was like, okay, well, my bad. Like, I didn't mean, I know he was probably like being jokey as well, but it was one of those, I felt like I had gotten scolded for a second. Anyways. So that's the feeling I got from there. Like, yeah, we didn't think about vampires and werewolves in our world. Sure, thanks for the suggestion. Bye. Anyways, but that's just me being cynical. Geriatrics Patek Plane says, when will the next test be? And then he says, Chrono Odyssey is a game about time, but ironically, I can't quite promise you the timing just yet. Law artist or lollartist, possibly. Please make the camera a little more zoomed out. And also, I would like to be able to zoom in more to see my beautiful character up close. Cool. That's great. I actually think that the camera should be taken like a foot or two backwards anyway. I really didn't enjoy having to scroll my mouse wheel backwards every time I did something in the game. I said a dedicated photo mode is on the way, and yes, screenshots will come come out clean without the UI. Cool. Good news. Siri says, enjoyed a lot of the closed beta. I just hope you will improve in all those points as optimization and desync animations. But I'll be waiting for the following betas and release. So thank you for understanding. And this was a beta. We truly appreciate your patience. We'll do our best to deliver an even better experience for beta test 2. It's Lizen says, fix all the jank issues, animations, weird looking characters, optimization, and most importantly, staying true to your word, being non-pay to win. And you have one, if not the best MMO in a long time. Okay. So I see what we're saying. Sorry. Very excited to see the future of this game. Ooh, some realism. We're not necessarily trying to become the best MMO out there. We simply hope that Chrono Odyssey will be remembered as a meaningful IP, one that players can connect with and care about. The game includes some experimental ideas, and we know it may not be for everyone, but we're building it for those who truly resonate with what Chrono Odyssey is. Over time, we believe our unique identity will become even clearer. Thank you again for your support. That's an awesome statement. A lot of devs, they're not making a game for everybody, because the people that play like Stardew Valley aren't going to be sitting there and being like, oh man, you know what I really can't wait to log into? Chrono Odyssey today. I can't wait to have a cosmic horror on my fucking hands. You know what I mean? It's like, some people want chill games, and this game is not for them. And that's okay, because there are other games being created for them. It's not this development team's job to capture all of World of Warcraft's player base. It's only their job is to create a game that they enjoy playing and that they're proud of creating, and a game that hopefully will get enough players that it can continue being developed and act as a live service that people can pour thousands of hours into. Those are what MMOs are, essentially. And hopefully we get that. But at the end of the day, if they sacrifice their dream for the sake of dollars, you're just going to have a situation where they could have just kept making like gacha cell phone games. You know what I mean? Like, they wanted to do something different. They wanted to do something more. And you see that with games like Mongol, or is it Mongol? That's a new one coming out by Netmarble. And stuff like Etheria Restart and all these games, their goal is to make money. They want cool characters and they want a cool storyline, but the game inherently, its first and foremost thing is to make money. So it seems like that's not their aim with Chrono Odyssey. Obviously it's in the top 10 things they want. Probably number 2. They're like, make a good game that's fun, and the number 2 is make money doing it. Who doesn't want to do that, right? But I think that a lot of cell phone games and gacha games, Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, their first idea is not to make a great game. Their first idea is to make something that absorbs people's time and makes money from them. That's not to say that Wuthering Waves isn't a good game or Genshin isn't a good game. I'm just saying that their values are adjusted. So somebody said minimap is required. I don't agree, but I mean, let's see what they say. We chose to use a compass-based navigation system because we wanted players to explore the world more intuitively. Spotting distant landmarks or objects from a back-viewed perspective, like a treasure hunt, including a minimap, would go against the kind of gameplay experience we're aiming for, so it's unlikely we'll implement one. We hope you can understand the intention behind this design choice. Now, a lot of games have become easier over the course of gaming because it is the way that things evolve, the ease of access to things. And you can see something like Elden Ring not having a minimap, but Elden Ring Night Rain having a minimap is weird, because Night Rain, like you need to have instant access to information to assess, whereas Elden Ring proper, and by that Shadow of the Erd Tree, you don't have to. You could just take your time and you could look and explore the world at your leisure, right? So I think that's a good way to put that. I also don't think that you have to have a minimap for every single game. I think it's just an ease of access thing, and sometimes can be a crutch when you want people to like look around and be like, oh wow, I'm heading towards my objective. I can see this little compass right here. Let's look around and see, 40% of the screen is all new things happening. Anyways, so Saint 1, this is a different Saint 1 or Saintone. When is the next CBT? And please give us a South America server. Thank you. Please give us other servers other than US East. Jesus, that was terrible. As for South American servers, we've heard the feedback loud and clear. While we can't promise anything just yet, we're carefully reviewing global infrastructure options, including that region. Please stay tuned. We'll announce updates as soon as we're ready. Cool. Person posted a screenshot and said, this looks nice. It does. Also, this is an area that I don't think, I think this was the part of the map that I wasn't able to walk over to at one point. There was like a wall here, but anyways, so they said the actual in-game data and resource quality are identical to what you see in the trailer. However, due to insufficient optimization, the overall experience greatly varies between players. And the fact that we couldn't deliver consistent quality to everyone is what disappoints us the most. We also believe that, in terms of quality, our development team is capable of reaching much greater heights, but during development, we were pushing forward within limited resources, and that narrow perspective caused us to overlook certain important elements. Please look forward to the next test. We'll make it happen no matter what. That's a really, really cool thing to say, in my opinion. When looking at the screenshot, you could have been like, thank you, we're working hard on the optimization. But no, they're pointing at their own shortcomings, and they fucked up. They narrowed their perspective and caused them to overlook important elements. It's huge, man. I just think that's great. I think when people can recognize their own shortcomings and apologize for them and, promise to do better, that's what we're here for, right? We're all human beings, like I said. What? I don't know what that name is, but Teller Seplock says, a dumb move by giving us the old beta build to play test. What's the point of giving this version and eventually the bug and problem already fixed in the actual version? This is stupid. What's the point of a beta for this then? What a waste of time. Abrasive, but he's not wrong, And then they said, we totally understand why some players feel frustrated when they see unpolished gameplay or performance issues during a closed beta. But the purpose of the CBT isn't to show the finished product. It's to test core systems, gather real player feedback, and identify problems that we simply can't catch internally. It's part of the building something better together. even if it feels rough now. Without these early stages, we risk launching a game that's not ready at all. And that's 100% correct. Like I said earlier, they're probably have fixed a lot of the things that were issues in this build in a further build. Optimization probably not being one of them, because usually you have to get a lot of different testing on a lot of different computers, and then your entire optimization team focuses on that post-release. That's at least what's been happening lately in gaming. But they probably were looking at infrastructure and servers wise, making sure that they could take on the load that would be the hundreds of thousands of players that logged in. So if we're looking at Steam, we're looking at the Steam peak of Chrono Odyssey. There are 50 people in game right now, which is weird. 50 people trying to load in. And their all-time peak was 65,752. Now, this is just on Steam. I don't think the Asia client was on Steam. So that was basically within the first 12 hours of the test, and then it just kind of went down from there, which is fine. But I will say on the first initial day of testing, I didn't have a problem getting in, nor did I get kicked out and then not able to return to the game. So like, them having that infrastructure already is a good sign, because I've played games with much less people that have had much worse server system issues. So I'm stoked with that. Okay. And I think this is the last one. If you actually are trying to succeed, you need to fix thousands of things. If you're just trying to scam some money before you move on, then good luck in the future. LOL. I can't stand all the PR answers like it's leading the game to 100% death. Hire me as a tester and I will give you full honesty. And then they said, over 120 developers are working more than 8 hours a day, every single day, to make this game better. That's why your honest feedback means so much to us. Please keep sharing your thoughts just like you are now. We truly appreciate it. I mean, you didn't have to be that nice to that dude. Again, this is a person on the internet, and they came at you with vitriol to start, right? Calling you like, oh, if you're actually making the game, you need to fix over 1,000 things. He's right. But if you're just trying to scam people, then good luck in your future. It's like, why is the human interaction, we're just like, oh, you're just trying to scam us. You're just trying to scam us. I realize that a lot of people, like from crypto spaces and all that stuff, that's the mentality. Like, how do I get one over on my fellow man just to make some money? I hope people like that aren't involved with gaming much in the future, because they get pushed out of the industry. I mean, what was we've had games in the past, the day before being one of them, where you just have a team that probably is really passionate about it, but you have the people in charge that just functionally aren't able to really deliver on these things, and they're just kind of, putting up a lot of PR buzzwords and ruin it for everybody else. So I can understand to a certain extent why Cesaro came at him sideways like that. But again, this is a person that's gone through all of these messages, and I've gone through over the last 40 minutes and told a story of their development process, and having over 120 devs, like that's not a small team. I thought it was more like 30 or 40 from what I understood. I originally thought there was like 150 to 200 devs on this team, but I wasn't sure on that. And then finding out before that it was someone said much less, I was worried. And now seeing that they're saying, hey, over 120, I'm back to being cautiously optimistic, and actually seeing the conversation. I love it. I love to see it. And I hope that you guys seeing this at home, maybe you just listen to me go through Twitter, but maybe this helped a little bit to alleviate your frustrations with the closed beta test. I mean, that's PR speak if I've ever seen it, but let's be real. We want this game to succeed. People like Nico Too Low, they don't want your game to fail. They just want it to be better. Let's be real. That's why he critiques the games the way that he does. And that's why we support these games. You know what I mean? Like, it's frustrating to see it year after year after year of begging for a good MMO, begging for the next big MMO to respect the player again. Like, if we just had an updated version of EverQuest 2, people would be ecstatic because it's just EverQuest 2. Just you running around doing dungeons and being weird. Fun. But alas, we don't have that. And, you know, we have stuff like Lost Ark. And we have stuff like Arcage. And we have stuff like, you know, Ion. And you know, EVE Online's fine. Albion's pretty good. But we want an Eastern stylized MMO to also be a good Western style MMO. Like something like an action combat game. And that's what a lot of people are begging for. So anyways, friends, thank you so much for listening to me yap in the Yaponomics class. Hopefully we get the next info about Chrono Odyssey closed beta test number 2 in the coming weeks. I highly doubt we get it within the next week or 2, but most likely like a month or 2, when this all dies down a little bit, they can start rebuilding hype for a closed beta test 2. And hopefully they give us like a month in advance so that I can make some adjusted time to actually sit down and play more than just the 25 hours I was able to get this last weekend, because it fell on my birthday weekend. So that's why I was not able to play as much, and I worked all weekend. But anyways, appreciate you, friends. Thank you so much for coming by. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJ Montague. You like, comment, and subscribe down below, and ring the notification or something. I'm trying to put out some more, you know, content so you can enjoy and we can chat. Thank you, friends. I'll see you soon.